All right, we're taking a look here at Huntington Station. Today is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. We're going to do a little rail fanning here on the Port Jet branch. Don't know what the rest of the day will be like, but we're going to be watching a few trains run around this general area. We're going to be going to Park Avenue. We're going to be seeing train 613 today, running with DM30AC, 506 leading, 517 on the rear with 8. This was mainly on the Montauk branch last week. Today, as of last night, running on the Port Jet branch. Train sitting in the station right now on track 1. It's going to Grand Central. I'm going to hang over to Park Avenue to see 613 pass. Gets the Greenlawn at 634, time 619. So we got plenty of time. Gets the Greenlawn at 634. We'll be passing by here right around between, let's just say 635 and 640. As 613 does a non-stop run between Greenlawn and Jamaica. So it's going to get here at a pretty legitimate time at that point. All right, we're overlooking Park Avenue here. We're on the side of what was Kleet Lumber. It's now called Builder's First Source. I guess it's a new company that acquired Kleet. Kleet Lumber has been a staple here in Huntington Station for many, many, many years. Matter of fact, they still take freight over here. As yesterday, RS-40 went out to New York and Atlantic. RS-40 came out to this location. For RS-40 to serve, they have to go all the way to Northport to Duke Interlocking and reverse direction. Lots of times what they'll have to do is put the equipment off to the siding and run around the engines. Or if they have an engine on each end, they still have to go to Northport to reverse direction to proceed west. Basically the tracks trail. The switch would be facing eastward, but the trains have to go west to do so. Anyway, taking a look at the radar, 613 running 2 minutes late out of Kings Park. So should depart Greenlawn at about 6:36, and still get here around 6:40, which is still ample time. Alright, we're looking at headlights coming up. Time now 6:34. It looks like we have, off in the distance, train 613 arriving at Greenlawn. Basically, this is a straight run between here and just east of Greenlawn where the tracks curve. Port Jet branch has a lot of curves on it. Lots of wooded areas, lots of curves. This is one of the very few areas along the Port Jet branch which is sort of an industrial section. A lot of industrial parks over here. There was at one time just east of here right around Lake Street, a yard was going to be placed. Local residents turned it down as there's residences south of Pulaski Road and more residences were built. More talk about yard tracks being built further down the Port Jet branch, but that still never got done. We still have the layup tracks here at the east end of Huntington. Matter of fact, these high tension lines that you're looking at right here, these are not original to the Port Jet branch. These were placed in the 1960s when high tension power lines were put up, and underground feeder cables were sent to the power plant in Northport. Matter of fact, an underground line goes all the way up to Connecticut from that point. Portrush Branch itself is Route 261 territory up to Huntington until the 80s. Where at that point 261 was extended to Smithtown. Actually the 1960s, 70s, and then it was extended to Smithtown. And of course east of Smithtown not till 1992. Yeah, it's now 6:37, and here comes 6:13 as he's just left Greenlawn, making his non-stop run. Gets to Jamaica at about 7:14. Joke out of it here is he's going to be getting over to this point momentarily. Again, DM38C 563 to 517 on the rear with 8. Maximum authorized speed to this part is 45 miles an hour. This is going to be coming to the slowdown to get to this part. This was slowing down to get to Huntington. The 3 interlocking. Can't achieve maximum authorized speed on the railroad, which is 80 miles an hour. Can't do that till west of Syosset, where he has a very brief maximum authorized speed run. So as I said, 6:40 and it's 6:39 now, so he's going to be getting through here at the time that was advertised. 6 is another DM30AC out of the DEDM fleet, which now has an E-bill on it. Pretty much the entire DEDM fleet is getting its pneumatic bells replaced by electronic E-bells. Jamaica will be the next stop, followed by Penn Station for this train. We're taking a brief look here at the Southside extension here at Huntington, and you're looking at loaded center beam flat cars. Again, New York and Atlantic RS40 came here yesterday to drop off these cars. This train will be leaving later on a Grand Central run. Generally, as of late, all we see here is the M7s, M9s layover here. The majority of the layups here at Huntington are generally Grand Central runs. On a very rare occasion, you'll see a Penn Station train layup over here. But again, that's extremely rare nowadays since the runs to Grand Central are now taking place. You will see M3s coming out here from time to time. Not generally laying up in the yard overnight, but you'll see trains coming out here from time to time. Today there was no M3. M3 train ran. You'll sometimes have an M3 come out early in the morning as train 1604 depart as train 1511, then go to Port Washington as 3308 and 325. But in this case today it was an M7, not particularly this one. Alright, we're a little east, about a mile or so or two east of Park Avenue. We're at the Cuba Hill Road crossing here in Greenlawn. Watching in the background train 615 from Port Jefferson, Hunters Point Avenue coming to view. C3 cab car 5004 is the leader on this one, with 30AC 409 on the rear. Gates here have come down at Cuba Hill Road, even though the train right now is at the station, which is at Broadway. Come up for now. We'll come back down once the train starts to make its move. Greenlawn, roughly 2 to 3 miles east of Huntington, as he's now making his move now. Time now 6:55. This is train 615 Port Jefferson to Hunters Point Avenue. All right, we're overlooking Duke Interlocking from just in front of the fence of the station here. We're going to be watching the meet between train 606, school train between Huntington and Port Jeff, and train 617, Port Jefferson to Long Island City. .606 today with DE30AC 404 on the point, C3 Cat 5017 on the rear. 617 with C3 Cab 5005 leading, DM30AC 502 on the rear with 5. And if I'm looking at the radar, 617 just got the Kings Park and is holding there. Kings Park is about 3-4 miles to the east of here. We're going to be seeing 606 first. 606 will go up into the siding. Is coming up the main now at the very eastern end of Duke.
Working in another location, man. All right. So how you been, man? Good. Yourself? Good, good. So all right. Got the green on, looking good. That's it. I need to try to blend in. Yes, sir.
6:17 now as he just entered the station. We saw the meet as 6:06 went at the very eastern end of Cuba. He's making his way east to Kings Park as you see 6:17 about to depart. Makes all stops on Huntington, Jamaica, Hunters Point Avenue, and Long Island City. Beautiful Wednesday morning with lower humidity than it has been the last couple of days. Alright, we're at the old Commack Road crossing, which is just west of Kings Park. Matter of fact, you can make out Kings Park Station off in the background, which is right past the first street crossing over there. Port Jet Branch is one of the few branches on the Long Island Railroad that still is equipped with position light signals. This branch, along with the Long Beach branch, Far Rockaway branch, and Hempstead branch, well, the Port Jet branch has the most at all the interlocking points along the way. At the interlocking in the background, you could see the makings of Fox 1 at the west end of Kings Park Station. You could still see the pedestal position light signal. These position light signals are fading fast on the Long Island Railroad. The main line just got new reduced aspect color light signals, and Queens interlocking about a week or two ago. The only two interlockings on the main line still equipped with position light signals is Fifth interlocking and Divide. There's still a couple of position light signals as well at KO at the very eastern end, and the dark territory section, or non-electrified territory, shall we say. We're going to be seeing the passing of train 619 between Port Jeff and Penn Station, the second of two dual modes. Time now 7:38. Gates are going down at 1st Street for the arrival of train 619. And here he comes into the station now. We saw 506 for 613, now 505 for 619. The only difference on this train is that we're seeing seeing 7 cars on this train, as for 613 we saw 8. 6:19, right on time this morning at Kings Park. And he's making its move out now. Leading, 520 on the rear, and 7. This is train 619, Port Jeff to Penn Station. Second of 2 dual modes. All right, time now is 7:54. We're at the overpass of the Port Jeff branch here on Jericho Turnpike, coming at the Main Street. Gonna be going at the Nissequogue River at this point. We're gonna be seeing 621 from Port Jefferson to Hunters Point Avenue at this point, as 621 just got to Smithtown. I'm going to be watching it from this vantage point here. You could probably barely make out the overpass at this point. C3 cab car, 5016, the leader, DE30AC 417. Just got to Smithtown moments ago. He's a minute early. An on-time departure. Kind of hard to make out. Again, the Port Jeff branch is right in the woods. And he's making his move through the woods now. Barely can see it, but it's there. Again, this is 621, Port Jefferson, Hunters Point Avenue. All right, we're at Pond Road here, Ronkonkoma. That'll be our last stop for the morning rail fanning tour. We got wind of an M3 coming out as train 1909 this morning, and his return to Ronkonkoma is 4906. It's supposed to be 1925, instead 1923 has it. This is the same M3 set that was 12 cars that had the 9850 on it. Well, the 9850 was removed out of Babylon Yard. 9850-49 set. Laid up in Babylon Yard over the weekend. This was a 12-car set on Monday. It's 4912. And they made it a 10-car set at the Babylon Monday night. This is a 10-car set. 9909 is on the west end of the set. 99-28 on the east end of the set. So you did some yard drilling at Babylon. 1923 departs Ronkonkoma at 8:23. Going to be grabbing it on the north side today. You just saw a few minutes ago train 2012 from Grand Central to Ronkonkoma go through. We're also going to have shortly thereafter 4910, which is an M9 set, which was the former 4908, which comes out of Babylon Yard, becomes 1121 to out of Wantor. Penn Station, turns around, lays up in Ronkonkoma Yard for the day, comes out as 4953, then train 362 to Port Washington, 3359 to Penn Station, and then a very later run to Ronkonkoma. Again, 9909 is the leader of this 10-car M3 set, 9928 on the rear. So I'm now 8:25, and here comes 1923, so it's just coming out of the station here, Ronkonkoma. Gates will be coming down the pond rope momentarily, which it is now. Gates have just come down at Ocean Avenue as well. Probably going to be seeing a passing between the two EMU sets, oldest to newest. Ronkonkoma to Penn Station. We should be seeing 4910 with the M9 set coming here momentarily. Alright, just as the gates were going up at Ocean Avenue, just came right down again. Time now is 8:28. We're going to be seeing 4910, which is the deadhead move between Penn Station and Ronkonkoma Yard. Again, this is an M9 set led by 9160. 9014, 9013, 9098, 9097. And this is train 4910, Deadhead, Penn Station, Ronkonkoma Yard.